Alright, put the incognito window away because it is time for my Invoker Spark. Alright, put that incognito away because it is Invoker Spark crit. Cast on shot, cast on crit. Invoker time. Alright, put the incognito away because it is Invoker Monk Spark. Cast on crit, cast on shock time. The objective with this monk is to maximize on all of the monk synergies. So for this bad boy, I am utilizing the extra shocked and shocked ground because the shocked ground is going to trigger and power up my Eye of Winter, which is in my cast on critical setup, which I am pumping up right here. Critical strikes. Alright, put the incognito window away. It is Invoker Spark, cast on crit, cast on shock, Archmage build. I am synergizing the hell out of this Invoker. So let's take a look at what I'm grabbing. 1 spirit for every 6 energy, 1 spirit for every 15 evasion. I'm maximizing the synergy on this by getting a really high evasion and energy shield body armor. This cost me 4 divines, and I imagine that is about the cost. It goes a little lower. You need a little worse than this, so like 450 and 1200 should probably get you pretty close. So let's see what that looks like. 3 to 4 divines is the most expensive item that is mandatory. You need that up there in order to get 250 spirit in order to run Archmage, cast on crit, and cast on shock. Cast on shock is doing the lightning conduit. That is for the damage. Cast on crit is doing Eye of Winter for a little bit of AoE clear, but also to apply that fucking critical weakness. So your shocks and your sparks and your lightning conduits have a greater chance to critical strike, and we want to critical strike as much as possible because our critical strikes ignore non-negative enemy monster elemental resistances. Essentially, that just means that all of the enemies that you crit do not have resistances. Now, you can lower the resistances to below negative, but I feel that's counterintuitive. They give you that option so that way you can do some curse shenanigans with exposure and possibly lower their resistances below 0, but I feel that is not synergetic. To fully maximize on the synergies, you're going to want to stat crit, and you're going to want to ignore any penetration, and you're going to want to ignore anything that does anything with resistances. You're just going to pretend resistances don't exist, because technically they don't. Now I'm pathing through here. I'm getting this node because it has dexterity and mana regeneration, move speed. It's kind of everything I need, so it's worth these extra points, which are somewhat good to get that bad boy. I'd love to go this way, but I need my stats because we are rocking a dex int build that needs a ton of int. You need like 200 int and you need 86 dex with my current setup, so I do need all of these nodes. Now I am torn on where to go. Go left and grab all of this juicy shit. You're getting 5 max mana, you're getting energy shields, you're getting the int, which is important, spell damage, energy shield, regeneration. All of that is super hot. Then you get another 6% intelligence with a bunch of good nodes here. And then we're doing a crit build, and we're using these gloves. Your bonus critical damage is equal to 300%. What this means is you want all of your crit nodes to not give you extra crit bonus. That crit bonus is a wasted stat. So it kind of feels natural to swing up here because we have this really strong crit wheel here for an additional 55% critical strike chance. No damage, just strike chance. You got a damage node here, but that's not important. Now, if you roll it differently, you can also grab some really nice crit nodes here, go up through the cast speed, grab these crit nodes, but, that's just not how it worked out for me. It might work out how it works out for you. Grabbing some meta skills. This is new. I pathed a little bit different, so I can grab these nodes here, and I dropped the 15% more lightning damage. The more maximum lightning damage is probably more damage overall, but I need to level up one more time so I can refund these and then re-grab these. Maybe even 2 more times, but either way. That's what I'm grabbing right now. I'm also grabbing these meta skills, mostly for the 3% of mana when you invoke a spell being recovered, because mana is your biggest limiter. When you get to a boss and you unleash on that boss, you're going to run out of mana before you run out of anything else. So that's pretty dope. Now, speaking of synergies, we are using Spark to trigger everything. And with the monk, you also get something called Unbound Avatar. It's going to give you 40% more elemental damage, 80% more chance to inflict elemental ailments, and that is all really, really, really strong. This is so strong. And what we're doing is we are making sure all of our jewels have 15 or 14% increased skill effect duration. I'm also grabbing 4% of damage taken from mana before life, because I don't really want to path all the way over here, and I definitely don't want 50% less mana recovery rate. So I am not grabbing that bad boy, and instead I'm getting my defenses through these jewels, which are giving me 4% of damage taken from mana and 15% skill effect duration. We're also grabbing skill effect duration here, and why we're grabbing skill effect duration is for the synergies. Projectiles from Spark last 2 seconds. Because we're grabbing some increased duration, they are now lasting 4 seconds. So we're doubling the duration of Spark. That means that Spark has a significant more chance to hit on bosses because it's bouncing around for 4 seconds instead of 2 seconds. Now that increased duration is also pumping up Unbound Avatar, giving it a 28-second duration. If we remove persistence, it's 20 seconds duration, and it has a base duration of 10 seconds. So essentially, we're getting double the duration from our skill tree, and then we're getting another 8 seconds from persistence. So that is where a lot of these synergies come in from. We're getting our spirit from a really high rolled evasion and energy shield body armor. We're ignoring elemental resistances from critical strikes. We're getting shock ground and extra damage as lightning, and that shock ground is going to apply to our cast on critical strike, Eye of Winters, and then Unbound Avatar, so we can go into Unleash mode. That is the build. I'm just gonna highlight each piece of my gear and talk about what I like about the gear and why I chose it. +4 to all level of spells. This is gonna pump up your lightning and your cold. You only have one cold spell, but you know, it's a little cheaper to get +4 of all skills versus +5 of lightning. Everyone's doing lightning. +5 of lightning is very expensive. Save a couple coin and grab something like this. Mana, what we need. Spell damage, what we need. Extra cold, why not? Mana regeneration, also really good. Really good wand, solid across the board. These are my stat sticks. They give me rarity and resistances. The mana and life are just nice to have. Also, the evasion's kind of nice to have now too. A wasted hit on the chaos, but you know, it's just for resistances and rarity. Those are the only things I'm using the rings for. If you can tune your resistances perfectly, the best ring for this build is going to be the snake pit, but I am unable to curate my resistances quite good enough for the snake pit. Because if I remove either of these rings, my resistances get a little bit squirrely. So in order to use the snake pit ring, I will need much better gear. But my gear is pretty good, and I don't want to break the bank on this. The only thing I really broke the bank on was the body armor, which I got for 4 divine. Everything else is in the sub-1 divine range. You're going to want to get essentially everything else now is geared towards filling out your resistances and getting a bunch of mana. So I would categorize the priorities as resistance first, mana second, rarity third, and then crit. So a good offhand, a good source or focus, as they call it, would have resistance, crit for spells, mana, as much energy shield as possible. Now that 30% cast speed may look awesome, but we really don't need a lot of cast speed for this build. It's really nice for the spark and go while you're going through the maps, but on the bosses, that cast speed is kind of useless because we only hit a couple of sparks to get everything going, and then the cast on crit and the cast on shock eats up all of our all of our mana. And, you know, so the cast speed's kind of wasted. So ideally, instead of cast speed, we would get chaos resistance or one of your resistances. But, you know, I saw the 30 cast speed for sale. This was like 1 div. And I was like, okay, that's good. I'll get it. The movement speed on the boots being 35% makes the boots very expensive. These boots are actually pretty great. Pretty sure they were undervalued because of the extremely low energy shield and evasion rolls on here, but you know what, who cares about that? It's got rarity, it's got dex, it's got lightning resistance, and it's got 35% movement speed. Can't really go wrong with that piece of gear. I'm using this amulet. It's just strong across the board. It is the only reason I have energy shield. So this amulet essentially says gain 2,364 energy shield. How can you get a better amulet than that? I don't really know. I'm not quite sure you can. Not quite sure you can. And again, crit there, resistances. That's it. That's the gear. We covered the skills. We covered the gear. We covered the passives. Let's just cover some of the skill points I'm using. Acceleration to make the sparks faster, overcharge for magnitude, arcane surge for mana regeneration, fork for clear, and whenever it hits it creates new projectiles, which is pretty nice. And then conduction. for 100% more chance of shock. Voltaxic Mark is kind of a meme. It works really nice on the bosses, but everything in here, you know, +1 to limit. I don't even think I use it more than once. Blinding enemies, attacks always maim, movement speed penalty. So these are kind of pointless. I'm just using Voltaxic Mark. You can ignore all of these. I'm just putting them in there so it doesn't feel lonely. You know, you don't want your skills to feel lonely. Lightning Conduit, inevitable crit. Because this triggers infrequently, it's going to give it pretty much 100% critical strike chance. Reduce the cast speed, no penalty there. More damage with spell hits. Energy retention. This reduces the energy cost. Has an opportunity to refund 35% of the energy shield. And I am not using anything to reduce the cost of this one. Down here on the Eye of Winter, this is where I have my inspiration because it's on the cast on crit, and this triggers the most. So, you know, I'm going to want increased energy and reduced cost. I feel these two synergize pretty well going together because you're going to be casting so much more because of the decreased cost and increased energy. It just works out a little bit better. And since this bad boy costs a lot, we want a chance to refund the energy cost. That's just how I'm doing it. You know, 25% more elemental damage. Can't inflict ailments, which is fine because you consume the shock when you hit with Lightning Conduit. Orb of Storms is just a little bit of extra damage. Sigil of Power, a little bit of extra damage. So how it goes on the boss is spawning. You drop your Sigil of Power. You drop this. You cast a little bit to pump up. You have to spend a bunch of mana. There you go. Get that bad boy pumped up while you're in it. And then as soon as the boss spawns, you hit it with the Voltaxic Mark. You're going to have a bunch of sparks going. And then you're just going to unleash. It's pretty great. I like it a lot. So let's run the maps. As I got chatty, I need to find my gallon of water. All right. Just gonna run some maps, talk about the build, talk about what I like about it, talk about what I don't like about it. But look at this bad boy. I think Savannah is one of my least favorite bosses. If I remember correctly, it's the horse boss, but it's got everything in here. So this is gonna be a pretty dope map, and we're gonna do it with the T16. Which one we got here? Attack speed. That elemental weakness plus maximum player resistances is a bit rough, so we'll run this one. Now what I like about the build is it really unloads. I ain't even kidding. When you get to the boss, it is just a freight train of wreckage. I also like that, you know, you have a oh shit button. I kind of like builds with an oh shit button. When shit gets real, you hit your unbound avatar and you really start to lay out the damage. Like for this map, it is a monster level 82 with all content. There's probably a pretty high chance that at some point I'm going to get into danger when I hit my breach, and I'm just going to hit space on unbound avatar and my damage is going to go through the roof. So here is the breach. It is getting close. I will likely be hitting spacebar here. If I don't die right here in this moment. I hate those underground dudes and trap you so easy. Alright, so the start of the breach is actually pretty important because it can sometimes get a little hectic. So we are going to hit some of this. We're going to hit some of this. We're going to charge it up. Why not? Hit unbound avatar, and we'll just make sure that, okay, it didn't start all rough. Sometimes it gets kind of wild out, you know what I mean? People be jumping at you from the distance. You see how my mana is just gone? That's all the cast on shock and cast on crit. So you kind of want to reserve your spark castings. Holy shit. Kind of want to reserve your spark castings a little bit to save your mana for your cock and your cast on ignite. I mean, cast on shock. That would have been a little bit more aggressive, but I'm actually kind of afraid of this map. Look at all those freaking mods on there. That sapphire ring's gonna give me that ring. I don't even remember what it's called because I haven't gotten one, but it's gonna give it to me. Man, I can't believe I have to pick up breach splinters. The only reason I can think that I have to pick up breach splinters is because they want me to play the game longer, and that's like a level of forced tedium. Because they stack the bleach splinters way higher in Path of Exile 1, and a lot of the currency you didn't have to pick up. You just walked over it and you grabbed it. I mean, you walk over gold and you automatically pick up gold. It's just silly that I have to manually pick up these breach splinters. Now, normally in maps, I don't hit Unbound Avatar for anything except the bosses. But this is a tough map, so I'm just going to hit Unbound Avatar when it's ready. And if I run into the boss while Unbound Avatar is not available, I will walk around a little bit more. For the most part, the build gets the job done. It's a little bit vulnerable to stun locks from spear checkers like that, so you definitely want to be kind of not moving directly towards an enemy, especially the quill rats can kind of stun lock you with their projectiles, and I only have one belt socket. If I got a second belt socket, I'd put one for stun and then one for shock. I mean, not shock, for freeze, and that'd be good to go. But those belts are super expensive and very hard to find, so I don't have that. So I am using the freeze charm because that's the best charm. If you can only have one charm, the freeze charm is the best charm. It's really difficult to get ailment immunity or ailment resistance threshold in this game, so just kind of getting freeze is all you really need. And it's that standard spark playstyle, but you get the enjoyment of just unleashing on bosses, hitting them with the cock, hitting them with Archmage, hitting them with cast on shock. It's just really satisfying unloading on bosses. Of course, this boss will be a terrible demonstration because I have to teleport over the ledge before I can unload my wad. So, let's see. Let's cast Unbound Avatar first. Teleport, unload the wad. See, it's pretty satisfying. You only cast the spark a few times, and then everything, it just kind of pops off. Let's take a look at if I can get to my spark damage. Orb of Storms. I didn't get a spark in time. It's gonna see the spark damage drop off. Because you get 40% more elemental damage, which is insane, but you also get the freaking 40% more ailment buildup and 40% more chance to inflict elemental ailments while unbound. That is so much damage value here for the way I have it set up, because of the cock and the cast on shock. It is just so much value. It's kind of nutty. Essentially, I'm taking the strongest ascendancy, which is the Invoker, and I'm pairing it with the strongest skill, which is Spark. And obviously that is just creating a little bit of a synergy storm here that I very much enjoy. Now, I haven't fought any of the very hard bosses, the Arbiter of Ash, or... I did fight... Oh, shit. That's the stunlock situation. Sometimes there's those bad boys, and they'll just, like, get on to you, and since they're not elite enemies or rare enemies, they're just those white enemies, you're not building up any charges for your cast on cock or your cast on shock, and you just kind of get wrecked sometimes. From time to time, you get your Black and Decker Pecker Wrecker, But right now, we're going to get this. Oh, no. So far, I've gotten 0 of those, and I've been crushing them the entire time. Just a stream of failure. All right, let's run another. I have too many of those. They just keep on popping up. I don't like it screaming in my ear when I'm trying to talk, but I'm running maps, that's fine. I don't really like Bloodborne music for gaming. I mean, it's kind of fine, but it just doesn't really have a beat. For this game, I like to play to the beat. It's all epic and, you know, orchestral, but I'm just not a fan. That might be a hot take. I mean, it's fine for Dark Souls, but for Path of Exile, nah, it doesn't work for me. Path of Exile is very Vampire Survive-ish. Actually, since I'm over here talking about not liking Vampire Survivor original OST, here we go. For me, this is a much more fitting kind of vibe. Nice little beat. I don't remember if this one had Breach. Ritual. Oh, breaches. It says breaches close faster. I think that means it has breach or not. We'll find out. I don't really want to roll the gold ring. I hate this map the most. I think this might be my least favorite map. There's just so much shit everywhere. I can't really properly see these rock things here that always fuck me up. I get stuck on them. There's a bunch of shit I can't see. It's just a super annoying map for me. Alright, we got this breach. I'm gonna front load a lot of spark. I'm gonna let it grow out a little bit, and then if I start to get in a little bit of trouble, some fucky wucky, then I'll hit the get cereal button. Oh yeah. It's time to hit, yeah, let's get cereal. Unbound avatar. 3 seconds left. Oh, I timed that beautifully. I do say so myself. One thing we didn't talk about is let's look at my crit chance, right? My spark is super low. My spark has a 40% chance to crit, but the Eye of Winter is gonna give it 10 stacks of critical weakness, which is 0.5 chance, 10 stack them 20 times, so you're gonna get an additional 10 crit strike chance, which is gonna turn that 40 to a lot higher. And then we didn't really look at what the Toxic Mark does, but this bad boy does 50% more chance to shock. Shocks has 45% increased effect on a marked enemy. That's gonna pump up the damage of your lightning conduit a ton. 100% more damage with hits per 5% shock effect on enemies. That is where all of this synergy is coming from. You're increasing your critical strike chance with those little Orbeez that you're shooting out, and then your damage is just exploded with lightning conduit. And throwing the Voltaxic Mark on there, it's just wild. It's a wild time. It is a ton of damage synergies, all just playing together in a soup of rape. there's one type of good soup, you know this soup is just gonna hit right. It's a rape soup. That's exactly what happens. Maybe that's gonna have my socket in it. We can live that dream, right? Even though 100% of my gear that I'm wearing has come from the item store, where I spend a lot of time, a lot of hard work, shopping for all the items that are way too RNG for me to even bother attempting to craft. There's no way to, like, aside from spending 9 divines on one omen, and that one omen is even pretty trash. Like the crafting, it's not for me. It's just not for me. But that's a good thing, because I have always been a fan trying to find a really good deal. So while I'm at work, I'll sit on the market and I'll try to get. Oh, this is the worst boss. I have 2 clips of me dying to this guy. If I put him in. I recorded like 100 boss fights. Oh yeah, I gotta do the thing. Because this asshole has immunity phases, and you know, you can only hit him so much. He's kind of a dick sometimes. He makes my Unbound ailment run out. Runs around like a fucking jabrownie. Has a really dangerous slam right there. And see, he almost got me. And it won't let me kill him before it. Wait, maybe it'll let me kill him if I do enough damage. No, it won't let me kill him. Yeah, phaseable bosses like this are just lame. Just lame duck sauce. But he'll kill me a lot. That guy's a dick. That guy, yeah, that guy will wreck me because he's a phaser. All phaser bosses will sometimes get me. Especially on a build like this where I have a whole little unload session. They just phase right on through it. It's like, oh yeah, unload on me. I'm gonna not take that damage. The cool thing, if you can get the boss done early, then you don't gotta worry about your Unbound avatar. As soon as it's ready, you just pop it on. Like right now it's ready, you just pop it on. And then you're even more powerful. You're already pretty powerful, but that Unbound avatar on, it's just crazy. Let's go down to my spark, 25,000. I mean, that doesn't really mean much. It's just your paper DPS. But it does show like how much it's going up. And then it goes to 18,000. Adds that fucky wucky to your damage, because you just kind of have normal damage until you hit the button. Then it goes into fucky wucky territory. Blooming fields completed. Let's I wish I could undo that. Don't you know? Don't you know what I mean? We'll just defer that for later. I'm running low on these. I automatically ran and grabbed it without ever even looking at what could possibly be there. And there's now a divine there. Oh, cool. I'll defer it again. Make it even cheaper. And I'll grab a second one of those. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. What am I getting hit by, boys? Hey, this map is done. There's zero reason for me to still be here. Do I have... let me see here. Oh, okay. One more, and then it's boss time. feel like this is that pizza, pizza, pizza pie song going on here. It really is, isn't it? No, I don't want. Steaming Springs. What kind of boss are we getting here? And did it have breach? Whoa. That's the danger I'm talking about. Sometimes you hit that shit and you just get instantly jumped on. You just get mean mugged like that. So you gotta pre-cast your spark. That shit is dangerous. And that's one thing I don't like about Path of Exile 2. I can't just fucking chill. I can't just fucking chill in this game. There's no way I can get enough defenses. Well, I'm not gonna say no way. I can easily get enough defenses to never have that happen again. But I need one with breach. You don't have breach. You do have breach, but you're not there as one with breach. Yeah, and I think it's a gotcha bullshit mechanic. They have so many enemies that jump on your ship from a distance. Most of the time you can't even see them. Like, there's very little action I could have taken in that moment. And once they jumped on me and got me into that stun loop, even though I have like 50% chance to evade, evasion doesn't seem to work very well. Character evasion, 54% chance to evade, which should means I evade, you know, every other hit. But I think a lot of the hits you can't evade. They count as spells, like those jump attacks probably count as like a special attack, and they don't attribute to the evasion, or it's an area of effect attack. So one thing you could do for this build is instead of going all up in here, because it does feel a little weird to path all up in here, despite the fact that everything in here is good shit that you need, you can instead path this way. This is also some good shit that you need. The projectile speed is really nice, projectile damage is really nice, and the movement speed, that's all excellent. But then you come in here, and this is where you get your chance to shock. You get your magnitude, so that replaces this magnitude here. You're going to lose out on some crit, but that's not that big of a deal. You're already mana starved for the amount that you cast on crit, so it's not that big of a deal. The main hit that you're going to get by reducing your crit chance is from the Unbound or Sunder My Enemies, because you don't have anything to strip elemental resistances, and you're relying on your crit to do that. So when you drop this crit, you're going to get hit a little bit there. But you can unpath through all of this. Path through here, grab this bad boy, which synergizes beautifully. You get more magnitude, you get that bad boy, and then you come down this way and you get more evasion, and then you grab that node for the all hits can evade. Now I'm at 54%, and if I put some effort into my evasion, I can probably get to about 80% evasion, and then 70% of that, so it'll be like a 30 to 40% chance probably of evading any attack that comes at you, which should feel a lot nicer if you want to go that ultra defensive route. For this build, that might be kind of nice, because most of my deaths happen, as you've seen, in kind of bullshit scenarios, either off screens or just me playing poorly on a boss one shot or a boss with phasing. But for the most part, I don't die very often. I'm on level 92. I've been dicking around a lot, but let's take a look at my played. A day and 14 hours to get to level 92, and a lot of it was spent, with inventory open, in town, dicking around. Oh, I could just do deaths, but I pay no mind to deaths through the campaign, so most of these are probably going to be through the campaign, so this isn't that great. But 74 times, most of those were in the campaign. I'd say since fully gearing out and getting to level 80, I probably have 10 deaths from level 80 to level 92. That'd be my guess. I don't even know how many maps I've run. Like 200. So like a 95% win rate. Or deathless rate. I guess that all depends on how thick you make your content. I do the standard full exalt and then Val orb. So my content isn't always the hardest or most difficult, but sometimes it is. Sometimes that shit gets wild. But I'm not using any delirium on the maps to give them permanent deliriousness, because I find the delirious enemies to be annoying. They'll kind of spawn behind you. If I can get my stun situation fixed where I don't get stun locked, I'd run those maps. I juice up all these maps with some extra shit, making them nice and thick. But for now, doing Breach with Delirium is a bit much, because of the way the Delirium monsters spawn, like, on your dick. It's just kind of annoying. And I feel kind of bullshit. Like they were designed specifically to fucking kill you. Which sounds stupid to say out loud, but I think y'all knows what I mean. There's enemies that are designed for you to fight and have like a fun and engaging fight mechanic. And then there's enemies that dive at you from off screen trying to fuck your dick off, or hold up a shield and shoot you with like 8 balls at once, that if one ball hits you, you get stunned and then you're stun locked. Yeah, those guys fucking suck. They kill me the most out of anyone. Sometimes if I see that enemy type, I'll just bounce out. They're super annoying. I fucking missed an elite behind me. I don't remember which one that one is. If that's the Pillar of the Cage God or not. I don't even know if Pillar of the Cage God's expensive. Alright. I won't be able to cast my shield. I'm too close to the boss. I won't be able to recharge. So I want it for the boss and not for the breach. So for the breach, whenever I see an elite, I'll try to hit a Baltaxic mark on them. I also want to keep my mana a little bit higher, because some of my damage comes from mana. And I think I'm at like 45 or 50%, so I want my mana to be above 50%, so some of my damage can be taken from it, instead of my life directly. You do kind of have to keep an eye on your mana. Just kind of annoying. With the cast on crit build, because did I get 3? I did. We'll be able to do a breach. But with the cast on crit thing, sometimes it's a little difficult to pay attention to your mana as closely as you need to. Well, this boss is kind of a dick sometimes too, but he won't stand a chance. It's just so satisfying. It just goes fucking buck wild. It's a great time. That's not so bad. Thank God for the checkbox. I mean, I would have quit playing if they didn't hit the checkpoints. It's not so bad with the checkpoints. But I still think it would be infinitely better just to see where all the rares are from the very beginning. I can't understand their justification for not showing you where all the rares are. And I actually think it would be a lot of fun if you spawn into a map and you can see where all the rares are, and then you get to go rare hunting. But just wandering around aimlessly looking for them, it just feels bad. I don't like it at all. And I think it's terrible game design. And GG can be stubborn company. Well, that is Pillar of the Cage God. Let's make a dope one. Let's pump it up all the way. Let's give it full sockets, and let's lightning damage. Does that do it for me? No, that didn't do jack. Is the lightning damage on there? No, the lightning damage isn't on there. We'll price that later. Maybe it's something. But because I've been doing the boss strategy, I have so many maps. I've been throwing these on the dirt. I should sell them, but I got a lot of cash too. All right, we're gonna run that. All right, is this gonna be the lucky one? Nope. I already know. I pre-read my life, and I knew that wasn't gonna work. We'll just get that ready. Yeah, I don't even read them with this build. I just pump them up, and if it hits T16, I'll try to save it for something dope. Sometimes it gets locked when I go here, and it's super annoying. Like after I run this, it might not let me back to where I was. And then I gotta like exit the game, come back in, and hope that it works. It's a bit of a bug, I think. I think this is max level now, and this will be my first time doing it at max level. This definitely feels a bit rough. I'll be popping my unbound avatar. There we go. Get me through some of this. Let me catch up. Yeah, this is going fast. Hopefully I can charge it up before I get to the boss. And that wasn't a mistake. But I was getting a little nervous. I was getting too behind. You don't really get a lot of charge for your cast on shock and cast on crit from regular enemies. Which might be nice, because then you're not totally out of mana all the time. My throat's dry as shit. What do they call it? Cotton mouth. Because it feels like there's cotton in your mouth. I'm cooking? Am I doing well? I can't tell. I got it. Now if I play my cards right, I should be able to just execute this dude before he does anything cool. Sigilo power. Slam that down. Get it charged up. Hit spacebar. So nervous about not having any mana. Boom. I get that every time. I don't know if it's any good. It definitely doesn't sell well for me. But as you can see, the damage is pretty good. And the cost isn't that high. Your biggest cost is going to be your body armor, which you want to take the most of your money. The next is probably going to be all those jewels that I have, but you can get around the jewels. It's a really solid build across the board. Oh, come on. Give me a really nice high. Actually, that one can use a couple exalted orbs. Let's do it. I'm actually gonna pop a couple chaos on this bad boy because it's got that mana. Cow. I'm gonna hit it one more time, and if it gets rid of the fire damage for something good, like plus skills, I think it's a suffix. So, oh, spell damage. I say one more time. Nope. I was trying to get plus like 7 to elemental skills. Let's just do one more. We ran a breach boss. I really need to get these bosses. I haven't fought any. And I got a whole imbalance of these. And I think the one I don't have is like the most expensive one. Let's just hit that with some exalted orbs real quick. Nope. Base rarity. 30%. Ooh, we got a mana on that one. Ooh, mana regen. Life. Evasion. It was almost there. It was almost there. That was not bad. For the right build. I'll hold on to it. You don't give a shit about none of this stuff. I don't know why I'm showing you. Probably because I want to sell that shit. Get into business. Let's see. Fucking bosses everywhere. Fucking bosses everywhere. Can I fight you? Yeah, I can fight you. Now, if you're not doing bosses, right? Let's just say you're running through, you're not fighting any bosses. You don't need this Unbound Avatar. You can either grab the more energy, which is what I would recommend. In fact, I'm going to run this map with more energy instead of my Unbound Avatar. It's going to make the duration a less synergistic stat. So if you don't have duration, this might be how you want to actually run it all the time. This Unbound Ailment, this Unbound Avatar is really solid, but let's take a look at what it does without it. Yeah, you can see it's triggering my cock a lot more. My cock unleashes significantly more with that ability. So if you're just doing regular mapping and you're doing like breach nodes, this might be a better setup. Or if you have, 6,000 mana, you have one of those ultra high mana setups, you got that mana ring, this would probably be a good way to go too, because you're already getting a ton of damage from Archmage. But since my biggest downfall, my biggest downside is actually that I don't have any mana. I run out of mana super quick. I figured, it wasn't great. Come on, buddy. Let me on my sigil. I mean, it's not really that much difference, and I kind of clowned on him. I didn't even fight that dude serious. So it's the Unbound Avatar is just purely optional. I find it really awesome because it's like a let's get down to business. You hit that let's get down to business button, and shit just goes ham. And it synergizes with the duration, you know what I mean? I hit it for that breach boss, and it was up the whole time. Oh, and I did get breach points. which I did not use. Let's see, let's hit right on the edge of that physical damage. Come on. Okay, fine, let's do it over here. I mean, I run the big circle because it's faster. And I took my fucking sweet ass time there. Yeah, that took care of business. Man, the monk just has so many good nodes. Even that other node, like it's a much worse node. But with this node, if I grab that node instead of like this node, or let's say I had some crazy spirit gear, if I grab this node, it's gonna be creating chilled ground. It's gonna be creating shot ground. And then I could put a curse on that does the desecrated ground or whatever and turns it into flaming ground. And then when I shoot my balls through it, this is gonna take the properties of shock, fire, shock ignite, and freeze all on the Eye of Winter, because when it goes through the shot ground or elemental ground surfaces, shock, chilled, and ignited, it will take on that surface's effect and apply it to all of the shards, so you can really pump that bitch up and make it your main source of damage. And doing that will also, instead of using Cast on Shock, you can use Elemental Invocation, because you'll be getting pump ups from Shock, from Ignite. But this is so much easier and chill. It does it all automatically. It's a one button play style. You just run around, you hit your Shock. You got a couple buttons to set up the map, to set up the boss, but beyond that, it's just nice. Nice and chill. Oh, stun lock. Yeah, rares. I mean, magic monsters can get wild sometimes. Just in case this wild's out, let's start it with some gusto. Mana potions are pretty important when you don't have enough mana. Especially because some of my damage is coming from my mana. Oh yeah, it's shooting way more balls out. But my mana can't handle it. Making me nervous. And in that particular instance, I do think Unbound Avatar would have been better because of my mana limitations. Just 40% more elemental damage and greater chance to increase. Okay, this is that operatic shit. Give me a beat, dude. This monster not completed yet. You gotta keep on going. Play like a pro and actually use my blink. My A blinking. See, this would just be so much better if I could see where the elites were and I could chase them down and I could hunt them. Or just kill me, that'd be even better. That'd be great. I didn't even fucking... Yeah, so that's how I die. Some fucking bullshit. Bunch of fucking bullshit. I mean, I can't go out on a death, you know what I mean? I can't go out on a death. So you guys are gonna have to just keep your incognito window, keep that shit closed. You can go back to it in a minute. get that breach. I was talking about Vampire Survivor for having good beats, and it's not doing any of the good beats. I mean, it has 117 tracks on its OST, but we're for the final map, we're gonna need something better. We're gonna need something with the fucking beat. Here, it's probably gonna get hit, but this has a beat. Let's pump it. That's definitely gonna get hit with copyright. Way better to nuke Goon if this is going. Started to see the breach pan, and the breach pan went away. Go back and get that breach pan, wherever it was. That's a fucking creepy looking dude. What the fuck is going on with this breach? Wish it had like a timer on the breach to know whether I want to keep going or back out. God, picking up these fucking breach splinters. Sure. The combat wasn't so fucking good, this game would have flopped so hard. But BGG knew what was important, making sure the game felt good to play. It is all that matters. Everything else is just icing on the cake. Back in my day, that's all games were. If you picked up Mega Man 2, that bitch platformed good and felt great to play. There was nothing else to it. Just straight gameplay mechanics. Sevener, irradiated one. Who wants that shit? Yeah, but because of my limited mana, I definitely like Unbound Avatar better. Even though this might be a little cleaner to map with, it shoots so much more of my balls, my It just makes me nervous. It eats so much of my mana. Oh, the boss is way up there. Look, this fucking asshole. I hate this fucking boss. Without my unbound avatar, I'm actually nervous. I'm not gonna be able to do it. It's been a while. That was no big deal. Well, that is it. That is my monk. That is my shock. Cast on crit. Cast on shock. Fucky wucky damage. Monkey wonky. It's pretty good. I don't think I like it better than Chronomancer. It does way more damage than the Chronomancer, right? The Chronomancer, you have to freeze them, and then you hit them with all this shit. But this just does so much more damage than the Chronomancer. It's kind of a personal preference thing. But this guy, he's melting bosses. You saw it. I saw it. Let's go through, talk about look at the gear one more time. Nothing really that difficult to attain. These are going to be pricey. Getting this double elemental is so strong, you know, but doable. Throw the rarity on there, and yeah, look at it, divine there. The all res again. This one's much lower, so you can probably get that pretty cheap. Oh no, still. Oh yeah, look, 10 exalts. Let's see what we got. Let's try to get like a fucking dope one. Let's just go to the trade store. Let's go to the fucking candy shop. And let's max out that energy shield. Look at that fucking mirror. You get so much spirit. You could throw an additional cast on something. But I have 7 divines in my inventory, so let's price that out. Divine orbs, max 7, boom. The best one I can get today, right now, is 500. But I'd want that because it has the dex. This really doesn't have shit that I'd want. Ooh. Cold res. Actually, ideally, I'd want this right here. There's one of these body armors that has the 5% movement speed on that shit. Hell yeah. 486, 459, 1223. So I have a little bit better evasion, but that's better energy shield. It would cover. It's got lightning resistance. It would definitely cover the additional. This one's good too. Yeah, so I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and probably upgrade with a bunch more money. Save up my divine orbs until it pumps it up. That's really the only expensive thing. I mean, the boots. The boots are probably pretty pricey. I didn't want to add a bookmark. The movement speed, the mana, the rarity. Let's just search it with that. Lightning resistance. 3 div, 5 div, 50, 120. Yeah, that's I got these for a chimichanga deal, I think. Actually, no, I bought these with 4 stats. I bought it with these stats, I think. And then I hit it twice and got rarity and dex, if I remember correctly. It's a good way to buy items, is you get to just the bare minimum. So let's say with this ring, we want to get the double all res and then the rarity. And you just trade for it. And you'll find some like that have most of what you need. So let's sort that way. Try to find one that's missing stats. But they wouldn't pump it up if it was missing stats. That's stupid. But anyways, you look for ones that are missing. This one's missing a prefix. 3 divine. It's got all res and rarity, life. It's missing the mana, so you can, you know, I wouldn't pay 3 div for one without mana. But you know what I'm talking about. You buy one with 4 or 5, and then you gamble. You hit it with that divine orb. I mean, with that exalted orb. That's a good way to price things out. Is, you know, use some gamba, because you can buy a 6 useful stats, and that's gonna shoot the price up to like, you know, 50 divines. But if you buy like 4 useful stats and then 2 empty slots, you can have a little bit of a chance to get 2 extra stats that are pretty good. This is like advanced. When I say I work hard to get the good deals on my gear, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. I'm working hard in that trade store. Trying to get them chimichanga deals. Are you even worth anything? 10 exalts? Yeah, I'll sell that later. No reason not to have 10 free exalts. Oh yeah, I'm done with this video. I will check you guys later. You can get back that incognito window.